A year after Lehman Brothers crashed out across the globe in Singapore, hundreds of investors are now taking the Royal Bank of Scotland to court to claim millions of dollars in losses. Val has been following that story, and she joins me now for more. Val?
Well, Haas, remember yesterday when I first told you the story, I said 165 investors are taking 9 firms which sold them the troubled mini-bonds to court. Well, the investors told me that's the master plan if this lawsuit, which was filed yesterday on Thursday, goes in their favour. For now, they are just putting 3 firms under fire: Royal Bank of Scotland, which took over ABN AMRO, who sold the mini-bonds, Lehman Brothers Singapore, and Minibonds Limited. And out of the 3 firms who were served notice on Thursday, Lehman Brothers has refused to accept the court document. Speaking of which, I managed to sneak a peek at that document. In short, this is what investors are fighting for. They say the products were missold and misrepresented. They say they paid for a particular product, but was told they were bearing the risks of another. In the end, the investment was not something they thought it was. So now they are going after RBS and 2 other sellers for either full or up to 70% compensation. I spoke to one of the investors who paid nearly $360,000 for those mini-bonds.
So we let the court decide whether the product itself is right or wrong. Besides the compensation, we let the court also have to decide whether the product is right or wrong.
And lawyers I spoke to say these cases will be closely watched in Singapore, not just because it's first of its kind here, but because they will put the spotlight on Singapore's banking regulations as well. Us?
How confident are these lawyers?
Well, they are not very confident because it's first of its kind here, so they really have to wait and see the details of the case, because right now we do not know the exact details of the case. On one hand, it's more like a he says, she says, because we do not know what really went on during the selling process. Did the sales representative say what he's supposed to say? Did he disclose everything, all the risks involved? And then did the buyer check up on himself, you know?
But as far as the government is concerned, it is taking measures to ensure that such a thing doesn't happen again, correct?
Yeah, there are several measures. Proposals have been put in place to change the way how these products are sold. They are no longer considered, there were no rules for these unlisted financial products before, but this time, after this incident, the government says we are going to put in new rules for these unlisted products.
So that people will not be misled and lose lots of money. Val, thank you so much for that.